Hi, my name is Michael Nunneley, and welcome to the Art of Making Comics. It's a new show I'm going to be doing on here that's going to hopefully benefit both indie comics creators that maybe might not know about this stuff, especially the people that are just starting out, but also I think that this would help readers appreciate how much work actually goes into making an individual issue. This particular episode, it's called from idea to ready to write, and that's basically what we're going to be covering. When you first have an idea, how do you formulate it? How do you get to that point when you're finally like, okay, I'm ready to at least write a first draft? And hopefully this works to cover that for you today. As far as the writing aspect goes anyway. Now, when you first get an idea, I want to use the example of Superman, because it's something that almost everyone knows about. It's a common frame of reference. But I want you to see how an idea might develop, so you can see what kind of things I'm talking about when I'm talking about putting your thoughts together on what you want to do with the story. Now, a lot of people like to start out with an idea like, I got this idea where there's this special robot that let's say he has laser eyes and he can fly, and he just does stuff with his powers. That's not a feasible means for getting to the writing stage of having a script together. You want to actually, this is my advice, my opinion. I personally start at the end. Where do I want this to end up? Not where am I going to start it. I let the end determine the beginning. And by that, following the Superman example, let's say we have an alien that comes from another planet, has a real sense of justice and right, and so he comes down here and sees how broken our world is, and he actively tries to better it. And eventually he even succeeds in making the world a better place. That's where I want the story to end. But first we got to start with some questions. Well, where does he come from? What are the powers he has, and why does he have them, really? I mean, just being an alien gives him his powers? Why did he have these powers on his planet? There's lots of questions about this kind of stuff, and so I like to determine, well, that's where I want to end up. So what do I have to create to get somebody who could do that and do it properly, or get what would a person's life have to be like in order to get get to where you would be willing to sacrifice your time and your health and even your life, if necessary, for protecting other people who are not able to defend themselves. So, first, you think, well, why would he, if things are so broken here, I guess I would wonder, why didn't he just go home? You know what I mean? When he got here, why didn't he just say, well, this place sucks, I'm going home? Well, I guess we're going to have to say that he can't go home. So his planet, we'll call it Krypton, because that's an element. It sounds spacey. Um, we'll say that his planet was destroyed, and so he can't go back there at all. In fact, he's stranded here. So he's like trying to make the world a better place because he's got to live in it, kind of a thing. And then you think, well, wait a minute. How could a guy who's essentially a god just walk around without being noticed? I mean, the guy would go nuts after a while, right? He'd have to have some kind of personal life, some place to go for space, right? And out of that thought, you get things like, well, Fortress of Solitude. What about Secret Identity, where he pretends to be a human? That's it. What if he looks like a human so he can pretend like he is one, but he's really not one? See what I mean? How we're talking about how do you develop a character to get to the end, not what do you do with the character now that you have a beginning. I find that is a more effective means of going at trying to get it to the point of being able to write. Now, in closing here, I want to offer another suggestion, something that I do personally that helps me is I literally just walk in circles, around and around and around. And every time I go around, I try to go over the plot in my mind over and over and over again. And it gets a little bit thicker, a little bit meatier every time it goes around because I'm adding stuff to it. I'm changing the order of things. I'm moving things around, and I'm just trying to get a formulated circle of okay, so this is where he's starting, this is where he's ending up, this is how he's getting there. Then it's just a matter of filling in the details, and that, my friends, is where the first draft starts. And that is for next episode. So I hope that this was helpful for you. If it was, let me know. If there are specific questions you have, let me know. This has been The Art of Making Comics. Coming up, we have Rollins Kalnins coming up out of Latvia. He is an artist and a designer. And we've also got Ted Crayons here in Susanville. He's the owner of Supreme Graphics. He's the guy who actually prints up all my comics and even does some of my designing for me. He's going to come on here and let you guys know what's going on with getting stuff printed. Lots of good stuff coming on. I look forward to seeing you guys again, man. IDIC, I love you guys.